Morning, everybody. The cat's enjoying the morning repast here on the Rancho. It's the second day of kind of overcast weather. I think we're going to break into some sunshine today. I am not sure, but yeah, they sure like to eat, that's for sure. Anyway, happy Thursday to all of you. I thought I would just update on a couple topics here today. People ask me to weigh in on the shutdown and when do you think the shutdown will end? The problem with trying to predict when this federal shutdown will end is trying to figure out the pressure points of how much some people will be able to withstand before the pressure on Congress becomes such that they have to take those Democrat and Republican skulls and smash them together there and say, y'all go into that room and figure out, and don't come out till you get it all solved and all that stuff to get it open. Basic problem now is it doesn't even come down to anything except money. Right now, in the extreme scarcity of funding now for things and the availability of monies to going forward to fund federal programs and things, because quite frankly, even though we had the tariffs that came in and have produced a good bit of revenue, when you look at the year-over-year budget deficit, even taking into account those funds that have come in from tariffs, we're talking about still a $1.8 trillion deficit, which is the same as last year's. Plus, there were some accounting shenanigans that were done to reduce this budget deficit by $100 billion. So really, we're at $1.9 billion here. And the weird thing is now, when you think about running that type of deficit, you have to imagine that we're not even in times that have extraordinary call on the Treasury, meaning we're not in economic times where there's severe unemployment, war, or things like that. So you can imagine if you have to start handing out stimulus checks and things like that coming up in the next couple of years or so, you can imagine that budget deficit blowing out to $3 trillion or whatever. It's just, we happen to be in a time now where the demands are minimal, but like a balloon, if you squeeze this end of a blown up balloon, you bulge out the other end. If you squeeze that end, you bulge out this end. What I mean by that is, who's really bearing the brunt of all these shifts in government right now? The first tier is the farmers out there who are harvesting their soybean crops, and there's not a place for the harvest to go because last year's harvest is sitting in the bins, sitting in the silos, ready to be sold, and it's not being sold. I mean, China has not purchased one bushel of soybeans this year. And if they're buying, I should qualify that, they're not buying one bushel of soybeans from the United States. They bought a lot from Argentina, and people are like, well, we put $20 billion in Argentina's pocket to allow them to, take our money, and then they turn around and sell their soybeans to China. No, there's a tremendous destabilization occurring in Argentina now with a lot of problems and a lot of political things. I guess the question is, Argentina is like the big drunk of South America, and how much do you continue to enable it? How much do you continue to enable that when time after time, no matter how much money you pour into there, it never ever gets better? It's always, this buys us 2 years, this buys us 3 years, this buys us 8 months or whatever. Now interest rates are back up to 80% because, well, people want to get the hell out of the Argentine peso is the problem there. And you can imagine what that does on the cost of living and inflation and things like that. So that's a big concern to keep stability in South America, and that's why we poured $20 billion into that place. But we're going to have to pour $20 billion, $25 billion into agriculture. now to pay off the farmers who aren't able to sell their crops to China. As to what happens to the crops, I don't know. Spread out the tarps, lay them down, dry them in the sun, hope that everything gets dried and everything before the big rains hit or whatever. It's a mess. There's not enough storage for it. So we have all these dislocations here where we're paying super high prices for stuff. But lower soybeans and things, I doubt if you'll see that reflected. Lower wheat prices, corn prices, I doubt if you'll see that reflected on the retail level. They'll take that lower cost of inputs, the Kellogg's, the soybean oil manufacturers, the vegetable oil manufacturers, and use that lower cost to fatten their profit margins until such time they feel they have to be competitive to protect somebody will try to undercut somebody else, and that'll be it. It's like a huge mess out there. Hence, we've had the wild performance of gold here, especially over the last year or so. And today it's cooling off a bit, which it needs to do, and probably consolidate at this level. There's just a lot of moving parts that are concerning to a lot of people in the world these days, and that's why people have been going for the gold. It has nothing to do with inflation, and it has everything to do with fiscal instability, and that's an important thing to bear in mind. There's a lot of plates spinning on the sticks now in the air, and people running around the Treasury Secretary trying to keep them supported. It's a very, very tough mission, and it all comes down to a three-syllable word called confidence. As long as confidence is in the system, then the game can continue. But the second major players start to lose confidence, then you have a big problem when people throw up their hands and say, these idiots we've elected have no chance of righting this ship or whatever. So uncleat the lifeboats, boys, and let's launch the lifeboats and get off of this turkey or whatever. So it's it's a very, very concerning time. We've lost that great middle ground of compromise, that ability of you give some this time, I'll get some next time. No, it has to be total victory on both sides, and that's a shame, because that's just a manifestation of ego and pride at work, that I have to always be right. And it's as you notice, I've kind of said that Congress and government has become sort of juvenile. It used to maintain a position where you might not like all the representatives in Congress, you might not like the president, but there was a certain idea of respect, that they carried themselves in a certain way, that you felt the confidence, like, okay, I might not have what I want now, and it may not be totally to my liking, but it's okay. I know the pendulum swings, and what goes around comes around. I'm not going to go out there and light fire to buildings and protest and things. I'll just stay cool, get on with my life. But now the situations are so juvenile. It's almost like watching a freshman rushing a college fraternity or sorority sisters in freshman year running around with their chickens with their heads cut off. It's embarrassing. It's kind of embarrassing, and the world watches, and the world takes its cues of leadership from the U.S., and if it looks like we're kind of shaky, yeah, you can imagine the multiplier effect on countries like England and France here. It's all part and parcel of passing the torch of prosperity from the Occidental to the Oriental world, and it's never a painless process when you pass the torch of civilization from one area or one nation of the globe to another. Let's be nice now. Simba's the guardian of the food there. He's like law and order. He apportions out who's allowed to get what. I want to also comment on Las Vegas today, and I can't believe sometimes what I see on social media. I went down to Las Vegas, got back a week or so ago, And you look at these videos that people put up about Las Vegas is dead and all that stuff, and you go down and you see the realities of the situation, and you start to realize not so much the importance of Las Vegas, but the importance of being a liar on social media to get clicks and views. And so many of the people that put up videos now no longer care about presenting the truth about what's going on. It's all a presentation geared to make people click on something like doom scrolling, something like that. It is just so terrible. Well, look, when I was growing up, and I was a kid up until about 20 years ago, Vegas was like a weekend destination. That's what it was. Right? Once in a while you'd have people flying overseas, but it was like a weekend destination. A lot of people would get in their cars in LA or get into planes and fly into Vegas for the weekend. And it looks to me now like Vegas is reverting to that kind of place now. It's not really fun for vacationers anymore to be stuck with prices that are so outrageously high. So it's really cut out a lot of what's left of the middle class, and it's left a really strong value streak of people that just come up for the weekend in Vegas. And this is what I've noticed. The town, unless there's some big events coming up, and the convention business is important. But if conventions start to get a lot of feedback that our prices that our people were paying down there, it's not really conducive to having a good experience down there. They're just here to take advantage of us, rip us off, take our money, and just put us back on the plane and wave the big finger to us like, F you, we'll see you next year. In other words, the hospitality angle of Vegas is gone. There's nobody that's going to be nice to you. There's nobody that's going to give you a break anymore, or you're not going to feel like you really matter anymore in Vegas. And that's the big change. I was delighted when I stayed at the Four Queens at how great everything was at the Four Queens. It was like an old school weekend experience. It was fantastic checking. I was surprised I got down there on a Friday night, and I was shocked at how I went up the highway on the side of the strip, the 15 into town, and it was just like, for the first time in years, I just soared right up I couldn't believe it, how empty the highway was when I got in. And then people streamed in on the weekend. It became the full-on weekend crowd. That's when I came to the realization that all Las Vegas is doing is reverting to a weekend destination for people, and more people are unwilling to spend a week or so in Las Vegas because, well, truthfully, you're not going to win any money gambling down there, okay? These corporations that control these machines, now remember back in the mob day, it used to be about laundering money, so they didn't really care if, as long as they were getting the money laundered through and basically breaking even, yeah, they were happy because they had a beautiful money laundering machine down there. They would bring in all this money, blow it through the casinos, take it, because all the cash is coming in. Nowadays, it's a totally different story. It's the corporations and the demands for shareholder returns on a quarterly basis that's really pushing up things to now there's a legally allowed hold, and I think it's something like 20% or something like that. The most of the casino is allowed to hold is like 20 cents of every dollar that's gambled. In other words, at least 80% has to be returned to the wager. But the situation now is, I can tell you that so many of those casinos have that pegged at the 20% that you go through now. I don't care if it's even worse on a crowded Friday or Saturday night. Ain't nobody winning anything down there. Ain't nobody. You're not even getting any sub games to come up. Right, if you get like 6 coins, or you get in Buffalo Gold, you get 3 gold coins, you get the sub game. No. All these machines are set up as psychological teasers. Now, you think you're getting closer to the bonus, but you get to the end of the word bonus, the S, and it just sits there and just goes and goes. Don't be fooled. Skywalker, why don't you just make yourself right at home in my in my video today? I'll tell you, you can't be helped being handsome or whatever. So I think now there's less attraction for people to go because the food is so expensive in the restaurants, the drinks are so expensive, the cost of entertainment just to go to the Wizard of Oz show in the Sphere, $400. Come on, man. Come on. Really? And then pay in the park and all that. It's just basically taking you, holding you up, and just smashing you with a baseball bat and taking your money. And that weird mayor of Las Vegas, Goldfinger, whatever I don't know what the hell their name is. They always seem to elect the weirdest people as mayor. Just looks like a deer in the headlights now, trying to justify that, begging Canadians to come back. We loved you, we miss you, but we want to beat the hell out of you when you come down here, okay? We don't really care about you, all right? We're very corporate now, and now they're replacing dealers with machines, electronic gaming, and it's just become a money grab experience. And right, even the dumbest people start to realize it after a while. You start to run out of the pool of stupid people that are willing to toss in their money. And hey, man, I guess I just had bad luck, right? you had bad luck, all right. And I look at some of these shops as I'm walking around here, and I'm just marveling at there's just nobody around that's shopping in these big shops, even on the weekend. It's really something to see. I have no idea how these people make the nut. Get out of there! Psst, get out of there! Crapping in the bed over there. Get out of there. So, yeah, there's still some great sights to see in there. You know, you still have the conservatory at the Bellagio. But things get so junked up now. You go into, try to walk through Caesar's Palace now. There's just so many buildings on it. It looks so ugly. It just looks like a million ways. It looks like now you're going through a carnival midway. That's exactly what it looks like. You're just going through a carnival midway with all the goofy rides and the sideshows and stuff. So nasty. And the last place that was any decency was the Bellagio. And of course they're setting up for the Formula One. So nobody can be in front of the Bellagio. And then they want to stick a boat on the water there to have a unique dining experience. It is just so weird. But it is just so strange. And somebody did a video the other day that in the last 10 years, and it's 15 years, 20 years, and it's exactly what I've said. Las Vegas has been built for rich people, for luxury people. It's not built for the common person, which it used to be. You know, the Harriet and Dawn driving up from Vegas or driving in from Phoenix or somewhere. It's not built for them anymore. So I suspect, remember the great adage of business is if you cater to the classes, you'll end up living with the masses. And if you cater to the masses, you'll live with the classes. And I think that that's holding very, very true today. And that's what I think is going to cause the disintegration of Vegas, is that they have it set to too high of a level for remuneration for the cost structures involved, that it's almost impossible to think about giving anybody a fair shake anymore. And that's the corner that they've painted themselves into. You ride by Circus and you think to yourself, shit, this is like it, man. This is it. This dump is the last word in cheap stay in Vegas, and even they put on like a $30, $50 resort fee. Ay caramba, right? To go in there with kids passed out and laying on the floors by the casino because they're not allowed on the floor. So their parents are in there pissing away money on the machines till 4 a.m. and the kids are all, legs up in the air, and it's just amazing. You know, there's a reason that gambling is called a vice. You could call it gaming or whatever the hell you want, but anytime you put a gaming facility in a place, they'll talk to you about the jobs that are created and all that shit. What they'll never talk to you about is the aggregate sums of money that are sucked out of communities. It's money that could be used for other causes. Gambling is a plague, and in our nation and in much of the world, we used to realize that until the 1930s. And then by the 1980s, with the birth of the mega resorts, yeah, all that was overthrown. Nobody cared anymore. It became a race for greed, and the ultimate expression of that, when I went into the Flamingo and I saw that they have a 000 now on the roulette wheel. They used to have a single zero, then a 00. Now they have a 000 on there. Do you know what that does to destroy your odds on roulette? When 6 to 5 came out and displaced 3 to 2 on blackjack tables, do you know how much that worsens your odds and things? Imagine what they're doing in the machines that they can't post about what their hold rates are and all that. Let me tell you guys. Anyway, there's a nice vlog for you today. I will see you later on today. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications. Yeah, do you think Vegas is turning into a weekend town? Well, I'm heading down in a few days, and we're going to do spot reporting again down there as we go live at various places. Have a great day, everybody. Thumbs up, I appreciate it. Once again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications, and I will see you guys on the next one.